Hey gang, welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. Today's video I'm continuing to work on the 68 Mustang known as Jade. Now I'm nearing completion with this project, but one of the things I want to add is a radio. I do not have the original radio for this car, and I really don't want to use the original radio, but I want to have a radio that looks like it could be original. So what I did is I ordered a radio from Crutchfield, and it is made by Retro Sound. Let me show you this radio and what you have to do to get it into the car, and hopefully everything goes smooth. If you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to see more, and don't forget, hit that thumbs up button. Thank you. So let me start by showing you where the radio is going to go. This car has a center console in it. I already have the bulk of the console installed. However, this piece, this metal piece with your little trap door, it has a little storage area in the center of the console. That's where the radio mounts, and it has this piece that goes on top of it. I will point out, these are hard to come by. This one has some damage. I had to straighten it out. You can see it's not exactly perfect, but it is what it is. So I'm going to try to make this work. Hopefully I have a way to attach the radio. Because I never had a radio for this car, I really don't know what it's supposed to have in here. So I'm going to kind of play it by ear as I go forward. So let me set these two pieces aside and show you what's in the box that I got from Crutchfield. So as you can see here, it does say motor 1A, 18 watt times 4 Retro Sound radio. Okay. Along with that, it comes with a face, or a front piece that makes up the front of the face for the radio. So let me open this up. Of course, it's going to have, read this before you start. There is looks like a wiring diagram on the back of that, wiring connections, installation and assembly manual, and some other extra this, extra that, QR code that you can scan to find compatible pieces, I guess. There's a package with some stickers in it. Here's another piece of paper that has control layout, how to use it, functions, all that sort of thing. Because this is a digital radio, right? There's like a trim piece. What's unique about this, I think it's kind of interesting, this radio has, everything's plug-in. And what I mean by that, it has these are the knobs. These are the knobs for the radio, right? And they're plug-in, kind of like a little phone jack. So you have a pair of those, some hardware to mount them. The main box, or main module, let's say, that everything connects to. Just kind of interesting, look at that. Here's some wiring with an inline fuse. So, of course, I'll have to get into that and see what I need to do. Some more wiring. Looks like some plastic pieces that may help mount it. A little hardware bag, some brackets, and another bracket carrier type thing. So let me set the box aside. I want to get these opened up. Oh, and this, again, is the radio face. It says it right on the box. That's all that's in that box. Now, there should be, there's a little, in this bag, there's kind of a knob kit. What I think is kind of interesting with this radio setup is you can order different knobs. Like, it's not limited to one set of choices. Also in this bag, nice little keychain. It's kind of cool. 3 stickers. So they really want you to make sure you get some stickers, right? But these little bags, you can select what knobs you want. And I don't even remember what I chose, to be honest. I don't know. But we'll open those up quick. So there you see that style of knob. There's two of those. And then there's a backing piece. So to go behind that knob, big chunky little place for your fingers to grip and rotate, you know, make adjustments. Okay. I want to get this opened up. I like that they have the fuse built in. That's a really neat feature there. Okay, so that's all the wiring that's going to connect probably to the speakers, power source, all that sort of thing. They have nice little labels on there. Oh, even the wiring has some information on it. Can't quite read it, but it tells you the color: purple, rear right; purple black, rear right. Oh, that's a positive and negative. Gray is front right. Gray black is front right as well. Positive, negative. So there's your color choices, or your locations, let's say, for the wiring for your speakers. And then this one has a sticker on it as well. So we'll look at that quick. Yellow is constant 12 volt. Blue is power antenna if you had one. Let's see. Red is ignition accessory, connect to 12 volt. Black is ground. And blue white is amp turn on, which I don't have an amp, so I'm not going to worry about that. So that's nice, labeled. They're already pre-cut, you know, so if you can just pull off the end, and you can see it's got a lot of extra wire hanging out of there, so that's convenient. This is, you know, again, the controls. So you've got your push buttons up here on the front, and this connects to this module. Now I'm going to look at the instructions a little bit, but I know there's also some wiring inside of this that has to be connected. Let me see if I can get that one out. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. There's your antenna connection. And then it also has an MP3, which is why I bought this. I wanted to have an MP3 connection so I could just play my songs and not worry about the radio and excessive radio commercials. But let me look over the instructions quick and see if I can't get a handle on this. Well, just to show you, radio face quick start guide, installation. Plug that in, attach it to that. That's the whole connection. So just to show you, it's all, you know, electronic. That's going to plug into that. And then these slide together. And then run screws in these ends. So I'll have to find the screws for that. I'm going to have to pull a time out here. There's a chance that I don't have the screws to mount that faceplate, and it's probably my fault. I had this box open before, and I may have misplaced the screws. I was showing this on a live stream. So I may have misplaced this packet of screws for this. Let me go find those. Okay, my fault. I didn't look hard enough. They're actually in this little bag right here. I couldn't tell because they're so small. They put them in their own little bag. Those are really small screws. Face mounting screws contained in this bag! Exclamation mark. Oh, and let me point this out too. I just got lucky in doing this. When I plugged this in, I didn't see this. It actually says this side down. So I happened to put it on the right way. Tiny screws. So and they're a machine screw too, so they're really fine thread. Okay, simple enough. Got that part installed. Okay. This is what I was looking for. Now, the instructions are showing these brackets that you mount to either side of the main radio, and then you attach your adjusting knobs. So that makes some sense. I was wondering, I didn't know if what those brackets were for, but now it makes sense. They actually have like a rubber pad on the side of these. So it's got this plus shape that allows you to move that thing around. You can move it back and forth and up and down on those 4 locations. So if you want to adjust it, and I just noticed it has an R on it for left and right. That one has an L. So if I'm looking at the radio, I'm going to assume, you know how that goes, assume this one goes to the right side. And by looking at the picture, that big cutout is at the bottom. So I'm good with that. Now it shows it just going together with 4 screws on either side. No washers by the looks of it. And of course I'm just going to get this started. I don't want to tighten anything down until I have them all in place. Kind of like building a model kit, you know, or a rector set. You know, you ever have a rector sets when you were young? So that allows some adjustment. Now, mostly that's just fore and aft, or up and down. So you can't really, I don't know, can't go too far in one direction or the other. I have no idea where this needs to be set, so I'm just going to gently snug one of these down just to hold it in place. And the next step is attaching the control knobs. So again, these are just a plug-in. They have this wrap on them to keep the wires from going all over the place. I guess they do that if you wanted to have some other configuration. You'd have these long extensions on here. I'm not going to need all that. But in the bag that comes with it, you're going to have a series of nuts. In my thoughts, there should be at least four nuts. So you could have a jam nut to set it in the back, adjust the length of the knob, and put another nut on top. But it may actually have it to where you have, it looks like 6, so you may end up with 2 inbound or inboard to make a jam location. Also, these have a nut already on them, and I'm going to leave that alone because it's locked down against the base. So at this point, I'm going to thread on a jam nut or a nut. I have no idea how deep to set it. Put on a washer, and then of course it'll come through. And I don't know if there's a specific way. They're showing it on the picture with the wiring facing out. Probably not that critical. Install another washer and another nut. So I'm going to say this is probably going to take some adjustment till I figure out exactly where I want that in the length. Oh, just noticed that there's a flat side on the shaft, so it really can't be put in like rotated. It has to go either with the wiring facing out or facing in. So just an observation. I think what's cool about this is you can configure this to fit just about anything, you know, because you can move the shafts in and out quite a bit wherever you need them. Just try to figure out where I'm going to need that stuff. Not exactly sure how I'm going to make this work, because this setup here, again, I don't have the original stuff, so I don't even know what it looks like. With this cover on it, you know, we've got this face cover, but it feels like that should be sandwiched between, maybe. Kind of like that. I know it's not the most cosmetically appealing piece, but that is probably where it needs to end up, something along those lines. So I'm probably going to be fighting with this a little while. I don't need to film all the adjustments that I'm going to be making, but let me play with it a little, and I'll show you how it looks when I get it figured out. Okay, so rather than show you the assembly process, I'm going to take it apart. I did some adjustments, got it to where I like it. The only thing I don't really like about it is this cover piece has to go from the outside, and it just kind of slips on, you know. Doesn't like lock in or anything. And there's no other way that I could do this based on the, well, now it's going to hold a little better, but I'll wiggle it and it'll come loose. But based on the design, because this flange, it really can't go behind that stuff. So just keep that in mind. The knobs, they're in grooves, you know, they match. None of this is tight, but these are just pressed on to where they're supposed to go. Now, take this piece off. And what I found was I had to remove the jam nuts because I could not get these posts to stick out far enough. So I removed the jam nuts. But let me show you something else. In the kit, it has these little black washers. I can only assume that they are meant to be like a reinforcement for these mounts. However, these were they're just too thick. It's taking up too much space. So what I did is there was also another set of washers in here. Take off that nut that actually fit. Okay, so let me show you. I took off the nut, small washer, big washer. These have a recess in them. So, I mean, a recess kind of flange. So it made it really nice because they actually fit around the post and they fit into the opening in the original piece. So that's what I ended up doing, was putting those in there. Let me take this one back off. One thing that I'll point out that I don't know if I'm comfortable with it just yet. Again, small washer, big washer, black disc. If you'll notice, this is really wide. You know, this area here, these flanges. So when I was putting it in the car, well, let's picture it like this. You can see how much that sticks out from the sides of the opening for this. So to get this in the car, I don't know that I'm going to be able to just slide it in. I think I'm going to have to cut some of this off or something, or bend it, because the opening, and I can show you, the opening is just barely smaller than the width of these plates. So, you know, if you have this bolted to this and you try to go in, I don't know that you'll be able to get it in. You might, I mean, it's going to be really close to slipping behind the opening in the dash now. So anyway, I took off, just to show you, I had taken off, I left the main jam nut on that part, did away with the second one that I had, put the post through a washer and a nut. And these also I tightened up with a 1/2 inch wrench. Now I didn't go crazy on them, but you know, that's just something that you can do. So honestly, I think I'm going to bend these pieces. I don't like the fact that it's so wide, and probably, I mean, this stuff will bend. I mean, I'm sure it'll bend fairly easy, but I have not tried it yet. But the point being, it's going to be hard to get it in that opening. So anyway, same process, going back together. And another weird thing, this particular piece, the hole that's on what would be the driver's side is complete. On the passenger side, it's missing a piece. I don't know if, I guess that's the design of it. And also these are at an angle. Like if you look at playing across, these are not square. They're both angled slightly. So I don't know about the quality control back then, you know, what they were trying to do, but you know, that's the way it is. The only good thing, like I said, these little inserts, they fit just about perfect in those. So that's where I'm at right now. The other thing we could do with these radio or the knobs, let's say, is they will just plug into the side of the radio. So they just slip right in, lock in just like a phone jack. Other than that, you'll have the main plug. That'll also plug into the back of the radio itself. Just line it up. Sorry, push a little hard, lock that in. And then the other two connectors, they plug into the back of these. And they only fit, I'm going to say they only fit one way. Yeah, they've got an offset, so it only goes in one way. So once you get all your wires hooked up for your power and all that sort of thing, you can just plug that in. And then this one, speakers, plug it in. So you want to take care of all this stuff first. Make sure that's all in the car, wired up, ready to go, and plug it in. I'm not going to go through that process because your car may be different. Other than that, the only other thing that I can think of that may or may not matter much is this bracket. Now normally, you know, this thing has on the back here, it has a mount point, and you can thread in this post. It's supposed to lock into that position, tighten that down, and then this bracket will attach to that. And the idea is you can carry the load. So you can bend this to find a hole somewhere underneath the dash. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to even use that because all my ductwork is in the way. I did consider the idea of mounting this as it was. And what I might do, you know, if you picture all this in place, I might just make a little leg, like have it attached, bend this. I don't know if I want to drill into this. Probably don't, because that has the door, so that would interfere with the door function because it covers that area. I could maybe get all the way to the end if I wanted to, but the idea being that I could bend this, bend it back on itself, create a little leg, maybe even I could maybe even epoxy it down or something. But just some ideas just to kind of support this, because you know it's hanging off of these brackets and the post. So just keep that in mind as well. Again, you'll plug in your antenna and then get a, what is it? I forget what the size is, 8mm, 6mm, something, jack, so you can hook up your MP3 and have that sitting aside. What I plan to do is have that be in the back of this storage area. So I'll just drop it in there. Other than that, there's a little rubber knob here. I don't know what that's for. It might be something you could adjust your radio with that. You know, I'm assuming. I don't know. But that was in the kit. A couple other pieces of hardware. Little lag bolt. You know, that's intended to go into your dash or something and attach to the end of this, so you can thread that in there just to hold it up. That's really about it. There's a couple of extra washers and stuff like that. But I'm going to work on getting this fully put together. As I said, I'll either cut these off or just put a bend on them because it's just too wide. I hope there's enough light here. You know, these are my speaker wires. I have right rear, left, right floor, left floor, and then upper. I have a 2-speaker dual cone speaker up top. So if I try to just take this radio and go straight in, the corners of that will actually hit the dash. Now if you angle it slightly, you can get it to go in, you know. So I don't know if I want to just assemble it and see if I can't sneak it in there. If I hold it down low, it'll clear, mostly clear. I mean, it's just a little bit of a tight fit. So, you know, with that plate on the front, I don't know. Maybe I'll try that before I get too crazy and start bending things. But I'll let you know if it works. Okay, I want to try out this radio before I actually put it in the dash. I want to point this out too. I didn't realize this. They sell this face, which has the numbers in it. So it looks like the old style radio. Mine is not that style. I did not know that when I ordered this. I probably would have ordered this different setup, just for looks. So I have the power connected, ground connected, all that stuff. You can turn the key on, and then turn the radio on. I'm just going to press in on this knob, and it comes up, says retro sound, and it's on auxiliary mode. It tells you this knob back here will let you change what you're going to listen to. So there's radio, auxiliary. These presets are just like an old school radio where you'd, well, I say old school, they look like old school radio, but you would, when you get on your FM mode and you tune in, you can press and hold, you know, for 2 seconds and lock in whatever station you want. There is a various other things on this. Display off, bass, treble, balance left right, fader front rear, and then extra bass off. I have it off right now. So that'll turn that display back off, I assume, and then it goes to auxiliary. So I have a little my MP3 player hooked up, and I'm going to play a song on that, and we'll see if it works. Let me get that set up. Okay. Now, I'm not sure why, but the little dual cone speaker up here that I put in, that thing is fantastic. Great sound. Currently I'm getting a weird kind of sound out of the rear speakers, because this is only 18 watts of power, so it really shouldn't be doing much. But I'm not getting much out of the other speakers, which is kind of odd. But I'm okay with that. I just want something that's going to play sound, you know, play music. Now, of course, like I said, you can go change your bass setting. So that's all the way to the front. And I don't know why, you can hear the speakers are making weird. And something must not be correct, because those speakers should handle anything I can throw at them with this radio. So at this point, I'm just happy to have this functioning. So I know it works. I could play with the other knobs later. I know this is a knob you can set the clock and time and all that different things, but it works. So I'm going to get it in the car and wrap this up. So I mentioned that I was going to get this antenna, and I did. And can I honestly say it does anything? No, but I'm still going to install it. I was able to pick up radio stations. I unplugged this. It didn't sound like it really changed anything. So whether this antenna really helps or not, I don't know. But the design of this is it's really meant to be, you know, stuck to the bottom of your windshield. And I don't want to do that. I can't get it up through, you know, the dash anyway. So what I'll do is just have it underneath, maybe stick this straight to the underside of the cowl and leave it there. Otherwise, that's all I'm going to do. So I got it up in place, put my 2 screws in the bottom. The 2 upper screws that hold it also hold the trim piece. And what's interesting is there's no other hardware. You know, there's no other mount pieces. So basically you'll have to pull off the radio knobs again. Get those off. And then this piece kind of hooks down into the bottom of the console, presses it up against, and I'm going to run 2 screws up into those pieces. Now, this is 53 years old, and I don't think they make these, but if they did, I would buy one of these and replace it, but I'm just gonna have to deal with it the way it is. So there I have the knobs back in place, and then this trim piece I'm just gonna put on the outside. It's not gonna like snap on or anything, but it's got enough friction on it that I feel like it's gonna stay and kind of complete the process here. So there it is. Now again, there's a lot of features on this radio, you know, power and all those different things I talked about, presets you can have recorded in here. I noticed when I was tuning the radio that I could turn it to a station and then just kind of bump this to the right, and it would scan to the next station that it could pick up. So it does have a scan feature on it as well. I think it's a pretty cool radio. I'm not entirely satisfied with the sound. It appears that the rear speakers have an issue still. I've checked the grounds. Everything is working. Everything's connected the way it should be. But the rear speakers kind of have a weird kind of vibrational thump in them. So, and I should point out as well that I do have my MP3 wired down there. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you found some information that may help you make a decision on your radio, you know, if you want one of these. This is very simple, very basic. I'm not looking to win any, you know, sound awards, but I just wanted the radio in the car. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.